Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Today we're doing real estate for dummies. On some of the recent questions and concerns you've had, I've decided to produce a really simple real estate 101 on language. Okay, we're just going to the dictionary, we're going to the terms. So as you watch any of my other videos here, I don't want anything to go over your head. And this is a good opportunity for you to put comments below to ask other vocab questions, other things that I talk about that maybe I'm taking for granted that you should understand these things. But listen, we all start in a world where these concepts are foreign. So today is brought to you by the words real estate, equity, mortgage, down payment, landlord, tenant, flipping, and rentals. Okay, so first of all, what is real estate? Okay, first of all, when we say real estate, we're actually talking about, this is beautiful, we're talking about something real, something tangible, something you can touch. I love real estate investment because I'm actually buying something I can touch. Real estate includes the land and the house. So when we say real estate, there is a value on the land, there's value on the home, and they ain't making more land, which means the value of land over time goes up in value because it's in demand. The more population increase that we have, the more people want real estate. And so the cost of goods to build a house will go up in value. And so as land goes up or the home goes up together, they create real estate and they create the value of a property. So that is what real estate is. So by the way, as you drive down the road and you see a bunch of apartments, is that real estate? Yes. As you see a commercial high rise, is that real estate? Yes. As you go through your neighborhood and see single family homes, is that real estate? Yes. Real estate is land and it's also the property that's on it. Number two, equity. What's equity? That's a foreign word when you really haven't been playing with it. And so let me talk about it. Here we got our land. We got our property sitting right here. And this house has a value of $200,000. That's what it would cost for me to buy this house outright. If I had $200,000 of cash and I'd give it to the person that owns that property, they would say, you get a title, a free and clear title that says you own this home outright. There's no banks involved or whatever. Or I could get a mortgage where I say, oh, I don't got $200,000 in the bank. Ask yourself, do you have $200,000? If you're watching this video, there's a chance that maybe you don't. And you're here to learn how to have that money in the bank, right? So all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I really don't have the money to buy this house, but I know this. I can go to a bank and I can get a mortgage and I'll let the bank carry the note. The bank will actually give me the money. They'll give the money to the person that owns the house. And then the bank will say, okay, well, we actually own it, but now you can buy it back from us. We have terms. You can have a mortgage, a monthly payment. Okay. So all of a sudden it's valued at $200,000, but watch this. This is magic. I purchased the property for $160,000. There was some circumstance, there was some reason why the person selling this home sold it to me for 160, even though it's worth 200,000. And I went to the bank and the bank said, you need to give us a down payment because we're not going to just buy this house because you want us to. You got to show some skin in the game. And because it's a house you're going to live in, we're going to ask you to put 5% down. So the bank says, well, 5% on this 160,000, my down payment is $5,000. The bank says, that's good. I mean, you're going to be living there, but you put some money in this property. You have some skin in the game. And that brings us to the question, what is equity? Well, I have a house that's worth $200,000. I purchased it for $160,000, but I also put $5,000 down. So now, what do I actually owe? Well, I bought for $160,000. I put $5,000 more down towards it. Let's say that I owe $155,000. This is what the bank wants me to pay them back. A typical mortgage is going to be what's called a 30-year mortgage. There are other types, but a 30-year mortgage is where the bank says, oh, well, how much do you have to pay us every month over the next 30 years to pay off that $155,000 and make sure we get some interest along the way? My mortgage is $1,000 a month. The bank will say, okay, well, you owe us $155,000, but if you pay us $1,000 every month for the next 30 years, then the $155,000 will be wiped out, and then you can have the house. Same as if you've given the people $160,000 cash. So now we have this question, what's the equity? I owe $155,000, but it's worth $200,000. And the difference between what I owe and what it's worth is what we call equity. So for example, I pull out my handy calculator and I say $200,000 of value minus $155,000 of what I owe, and it's $45,000. My equity on this property is $45K. K means thousand, okay? I got $45,000 of equity. That's pretty cool, by the way, right? Like, it's a good deal. But just what happens, you hold this home for 2 years, and the house is no longer worth $200,000. It's now worth $220,000. Does that change my equity? Oh yeah, because remember, I owed 155. 2 years had passed. I actually now owe 150,000. It's now worth 220,000. What's the difference between 220,000 and 150,000? My equity is not 45. Now I have $70,000 of equity. Equity is it's a number on a balance sheet that is a part of your net worth. Your net worth is what are you as a human being worth based on your assets, not your real net worth. I'm talking about the things that you have, right? So this house is one of the things that I have, and this house I owe 150 is worth 220. So my balance sheet says actually I'm worth $170,000. Then we get to this next part. That's what equity is. And then it's like, well, what am I doing with the house? You know what? I learned how to become a landlord. The landlord is the person that owns the house. And what I'm going to do is I, as the landlord, I'm not going to live in this house anymore. I'm moving out. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a tenant in this home. And that tenant is going to pay me rent. And my rent is $1,300 a month. Your mortgage is $1,000 a month, but every month you're collecting how much? What's the difference between the $1,300 I get a month and the $1,000 I need to pay to the bank to have this? $300. That's what we call a cash flow. My cash flow is $300 a month. And just for a moment, calculate that for a year. That's $3,600. That is a residual income, or it's often called a passive income. If you have a property manager doing all this stuff for you, and you get that $300 no matter what, it's passive. Whether you work or not, you're going to get paid it. Some people call it a residual income, which is it comes in every month on a natural, ongoing basis. Okay. I now become the landlord because I put a for rent sign up. Someone else says, I'll pay $1,300 a month and live in this house. They move in. I'm the landlord. They're the tenant. This is what we call a rental because we're collecting rent. And the last phrase here is flip. Instead of renting it, we say, no, I'm not going to rent this. I'm moving out of this home. I was only there for a short while. I want to sell this home. And I moved in. I fixed it up a little bit. I put it on the market. And even though it's worth $220,000, I actually listed to sell it for $200,000. This is an important terminology for you. I got it under contract for $190,000. I'm into it 160. I owe 150. And all of a sudden I say, well, this house is worth 220. Let's give someone a really good deal. And so you list it for 200,000 and someone comes along and says, you know what? I think I want your house, but I want to pay 180 for it. You're like, wait a second. I'm offering it for 200,000. What do you mean you want to pay 180? So you come back and you're like, Lois, that deal is $190,000. And they say, okay. And now you are under contract. That means under contract means they have signed a piece of paper called a REPC, a real estate purchase contract, to buy it for 190. And 30 days goes by and the bank swoops in. And now that bank buys it out from your bank. And there's some leftover money in this flip. Remember, you owe 150. They bought for 190. What's 190 different from 150? That's $40,000. You no longer own this real estate, but what you do have is a $40,000 check and any money that you made along the way, plus tax advantages. Friends, that's the story of real estate. That's the language. I hope today's message on real estate vocabulary was helpful. It brought great clarity for you. The best thing you can do is to subscribe, ring the bell, and every day when you watch these videos, learn new vocabulary, learn new words, learn new principles. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Peace.